horror fans and horror geeks. Welcome to the Chop Block, the only block where the horror community can come together to sit back, relax, and enjoy the genre. I'm your host, Ashton Austin, and I hope you'll chill with me as I dive into cinema's most unique genre, providing screams and scares for decades. So to all my final boys and of course my final girls, grab your coat hangers, grab your knives, and of course your guns. Because I hate to be the one to tell you this, but you're next on the Chop Block. Welcome back to the Chop Block. Today we are ranking the 6 films in the Scream franchise. And look, here's a disclaimer before any of that. I know there's a lot of drama surrounding the Scream franchise. I don't want to insert myself into any of that. I love this franchise near and dear. I'm not in any of the drama. I don't know what's going on. I'm not trying to keep up with what's going on. I love this franchise. I love every character in the franchise. Any actor or actress that's been in the franchise, I absolutely adore them. I don't know any of what's going on, so please, nothing in the comments, y'all. And let's just chill and vibe out for a little bit. Discuss, it's obviously going to be opinionated for me, but you can discuss in the comments to, why we like this film, where we would put them. Let's go. All right, so we have our tiers, which is don't F with the original, which doesn't mean only the original can be in this tier. All it means is, yes, this is the standard. This is a holy grail. This is what we want to see. I always had a thing for you, Sid, means this is good. This is great. I like this. I really do. It's not top of the line, like it's not the best we've ever had, but this is great. I can definitely deal with this. Feeling a little woozy here means, okay, what are we doing? We're kind of, we're not really making it, we're let's see how I can say it. We're on thin ice, basically. Like, we're borderlining on the next tier, which is sequels suck, which means this is not good. I really wish this wasn't being made. And then who gives a F about movies, which means, I'm like, absolutely horrible. We'll never watch it again. Just, that's it. Absolutely horrible. We'll never look at it. It sickens me to my stomach, a movie of that type, which is not in the Scream franchise, spoiler alert, I guess, but not really. None of those movies are in the Scream franchise. Starting off with Scream 1, we will rank them in order. Scream 1 is going into Don't F with the original. Scream 1 is a revolutionary film in horror and the slasher subgenre, especially during the 90s. I mean, Scream revolutionized horror as a whole as far as meta-ness goes and as far as a lot of other elements. It was just the perfect teen slasher. When you think about 90s teen slashers, they all kind of give you a Scream feel because Scream was the blueprint of those teen slashers. Scream was just phenomenal for what it did for the genre and just for what it did with pop culture as a whole. I mean, it made very bold choices from killing Drew Barrymore in the opening sequence, and it was those bold choices and the bold decision making, and of course Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven coming together and collaborating to really make Scream this masterpiece that it has become in this genre. So yeah, Scream will always be in Don't F with the original. Scream 2, I'm gonna put it in I always had a thing for you, Sid. My problem with Scream 2, and I don't have a problem with it particularly, I mean, a lot of people, they upheld it to even better than the first Scream, which I find to be a ridiculous take, not to disrespect anyone. Scream 2 drags, that's the first thing. I feel like it drags. Some scenes are just too long of scenes in Scream 2. But other than that, everything about Scream 2 is perfect. It is a perfect sequel for the Scream franchise. I just don't like the fact that it drags. It feels about 30 minutes too long. And some horror movies are 2 hours long and you can't feel them. And this horror movie is 2 hours long and you can feel it. Scream 2 has always been one of my difficulties on my Scream rewatches. I'd be like, okay, just gotta make it through Scream 2. It's kind of how I feel about Halloween 2. I feel like those sequels, they're great sequels, but man, after you watch them once, Scream has this charm to it, but Scream 2, it's just kind of drags. It's just kind of boring at times, and no one wants to feel bored when you're watching a movie. I mean, you're watching a movie. It's the big leagues. You know, you gotta imagine people went and watch this on the big screen. Nobody wants to feel bored at any moment. So that's why I put Scream 2, and I always had a thing for you, Sid. But I love Scream 2, don't get me twisted. I love Scream 2. I'm gonna put Scream 3 here, and I'm feeling a little woozy here. Actually, no. I'm gonna put Scream 2, and I always had a thing for you, Sid, but I'm gonna put it behind Scream 2. I'm gonna put it behind Scream 2, yes. So the ranking so far is at number 1, Scream, number 2, Scream 2, number 3, Scream 3. Scream 3, in my opinion, gets a lot of hate that it shouldn't get. We went a little too comedical at times. The voice changer was very much wacky. Roman being the singular Ghostface, despite having almost teleportive moments at times in the film because of rewrites, you know, that sucks. It just sucks that a lot of behind the scenes production issues held back Scream 3. But Scream 3 very much is still a very charming and entertaining film. I think people hold Scream 3 to a different standard of all standards because it's in the Scream franchise. But the thing about Scream 3 is it is a very good film. I think Scream 3 is a very good film. I think it entertains on a good certain level. I think this Ghostface is very brutal and can be very chilling. He felt very intimidating. Roman was very much a good Ghostface, and the third act was phenomenal. So I don't see the issues with Scream 3. Scream 3, again, a lot of depth in casting. Parker Posey, we had Patrick Dempsey, of course, Nev, Court, and David returning. You know, you had that Hollywood set type of, we had Patrick Warburton. And Scream 3, in my opinion, was a very good film. It's just, you know, when you look at what you got with Scream 1 and Scream 2, those were just airtight stories. That's what it was. Those were airtight stories. They flowed so well. You knew where you was going. You knew what was happening. We didn't have to change nothing on the cuff for real. Those were airtight stories, Scream 1 and Scream 2. And Scream 3 just unfortunately suffered due to, you know, just rewrites and, you know, script leaks, excuse me. Next is Scream 4. It is one of the most controversial entries in the franchise, and I am going to upset a lot of people with this. I put Scream 4 behind the original Scream. I love Scream 4. I think Scream 4 is so charming. I think if you were trying to bring Scream back, I think Scream 4 was a very good way to do it. Jill being the killer. Honestly, it's the people who try to find every clue, right? So you gotta think about it to the general audiences. And it did flop in the box office. But I think that was more due to the way the film kind of was marketed and just where the Scream franchise was at that time. I think that more caused the flop. But the thing with Scream 4 is you have this really, really charming teen group of characters. You know, you've got Kirby, Jill, Charlie, Olivia, Robbie, and Trevor. You've got Sid, Dewey, and Gail. You've got Sid's snarky assistant. You've got You've got Sid's Aunt Kate, and it's a really good ensemble cast paired with a very, very brutal version of Ghostface. They don't talk about this Ghostface enough, but the Olivia scene when she died, that may be the most graphic scene in the entire Scream franchise. It really borderlined on Saw levels of gore at that moment, which is not the Scream franchise's MO. The Scream franchise has always built on subtlety, but it worked. It worked. Not to mention you had Anthony Anderson in the film. You know, Scream 4, was it too comedic? Yes. But was it a meaningful entry to the franchise? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the smoke screen was very good. I think, obviously everybody knew Sydney wasn't going to die, but Jill's whole plan and seeing it all unfold, this is the furthest we've ever seen the killer come. which you have to appreciate. We've never seen a killer get to the point to where I have incapacitated Sidney Prescott. I don't have to worry about Gale Weathers because I have incapacitated Gale Weathers already. She's in the hospital. Dewey, I'm running circles around him. He's nowhere to be found. So now we can see what would happen if Sidney lost and the killer got to execute their plan. And that's what we saw. She roughed herself up as we saw her roll into the hospital, flashing lights, the fame. Her plan worked. But as it says right there in the tier I put the movie in, you don't F with the original. And I think it was a good movie. I think it was really reflective of, I think the movie wanted to more show that a lot of people thought the Scream franchise, maybe if you return from a break like that, you go new generation. And that was the Scream franchise, basically reiterating, like, no matter what we do here with Scream, the OGs will always matter. It doesn't matter to a degree. Scream is one of the few franchises where the OGs, you have an OG in at least one of every film. In at least one of every film, you can find an OG. Next up is Scream 5. Going under I Always Had a Thing for You, Sid. And going in front of Scream 3, I enjoyed Scream 5. I thought it was great. I liked Dewey's arc. I hated Dewey's death. I didn't appreciate it letting Amber be the one to kill him. His death happening to Ghostface instead of, let's say, maybe unmasked is also unappreciative of his character. But to Dewey's, to the credit of the filmmakers and the writers, Dewey should have been dead a long time ago. So you just kind of do it how you do it. But Dewey just, you know where Dewey was in our heart. You knew Dewey should have been an Act 3 kill, but he was not. Dewey was killed right during Act 2, heading into Act 3. Dewey's death was impactful. It spurred a lot of things into action. Really, they needed to get Sidney Prescott back to Woodsboro. But it also spurred a lot of things in action. I think that's probably what you take away from Scream 5. While Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Mikey Madison, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Dylan Minnette, all of them, while they do a great job holding the film together, is Scream. I'm just giving like my theater thoughts, okay, it's Scream. It's been 11 years, Hour and 20 minutes. Took an hour and 20 minutes for Sidney Prescott to get in on the action. I'm not saying they should have brought her back differently, but at least, at least give her a threatening phone call or something, just something to loop her in. But they used Dewey's death instead, which makes more sense. When you realize what Richie and Amber were trying to do, they wanted stakes, they were just trying to basically inspire a new stab movie. And they wanted to have stakes in the film, and they killed Dewey. So I can deal with that. And as far as Scream 5 goes on character development and where it takes our franchise, I think Scream 5 is an excellent setup into a film that overwhelmed me in theaters and underwhelmed me on a rewatch, which is Scream 6, the only film, and I'm feeling a little woozy here. Performances are A1 in Scream 6. Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, Hayden Panettiere, Dermot Mulroney sucked at the end. He sucked, I'm sorry. Courtney Cox, she's fantastic in this one as well. But the mere lack of creativity in the story and the mere lack of mystery in the story really brought it down for me. It's packed with action. But there is no story in this film. There's story here. Let me not say that, but there's not an interesting or mysterious story. Think about this. Because see, you've been watching the Scream for too long and you just know who's who. Kirby, Sam, Chad, Mindy, Gail, Tara. Who does that leave? Boyfriend across the street, too obvious he wasn't the killer. So who did that leave? The detective, Ethan, and Quinn. Now Quinn's death I was shocked that it was a fake death. I was really shocked. I was trying to figure out who that third killer was. They had me there. But Ethan and the detective, I knew that already. And to expect me to believe that Quinn did what she did to Gail's boyfriend? No, that's what was ridiculous. That guy was huge. But other than that, what also drags down Scream 6 for me is it's just a little, it's just, you know, listen, it feels like modern horror, right? And it is modern horror. But we're in the Scream franchise, and the Scream franchise is just one of those very delicate and important franchises in horror. So when you're making a Scream film, it has to be within the Scream box. Not to say you can't do your own thing, but don't try to modernize it to what everyone else is doing, because this is Scream. Make a Scream film. Don't try to make a horror film that you know matches box office success or nothing. Make a Scream film. You make a good Scream film, box office success will come. Make a Scream film. All the violence is just a bit over the top. Ghostface is running around with a shotgun, which I didn't mind. They use weapons outside of costume. I didn't mind Ghostface running around with a shotgun. But at some point, the movie just borderlines on just too much action, not enough scenes of just dialogue, intensity, ramping up the whodunit, maybe introducing a few more characters, you know. Maybe isolating a few more characters. This movie all just kind of felt like one big, just one big zoom to be 2 hours. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Scream franchise. The official ranking being Scream 1, Scream 4, Scream 2, Scream 2022, Scream 3, and Scream 6. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you disagree with my ranking, that's completely fine, but just keep it nice in the comments, guys, and let me know your rankings down in the comments. And I hope you guys will come back to chill with me on the chop block, and I'll see you next time.